#1? How did he get a #1 seed? And the way that we have seeded the bracket, the way that we're going to seed it for the remainder of the season, is that after the event round, the winner of that event picks a number between 2 and 15 out of a hat, essentially, basically out of a bag.
Yeah.
And once that number is picked, so like you said, Aasbo picked number 8. He becomes the 8th seeded qualifier. And then we invert the order of the top 16 drivers to get our bracket. And that
so Tuerck would be 9 because he finished 2nd overall. Odie would be 10, correct? No, it goes the other way. So it goes the other way. Sorry, inverted. So Tuerck is 7, Odie 6.
Correct, and then that's laid on the rest of the top 32 field. We get our top 32 bracket. And what that's designed to do is basically not give the guys in the top 3 automatic buys every single round, right? We're trying to mix it up, trying to make it as fair as possible in a situation where you don't have time to do qualifying. And that to us seems the best way to do it, to make it fair. So the guys like Dan Burkett are going to get the luck of the draw sometimes, and they're going to get that buy in the round of 32.
That works out. You know what? Giving you a little sounds of the sport here. Just listen and cherish this buy run here by Rad Dan Burkett in his gear wrench, Rad Industries Toyota Supra. Yeah, if we could only have smell-o-vision, right? Get the smell and the fragrance of those tires. Burning in the morning or here in the afternoon, 12:05 local time. Round 2 of the Formula J Pro Championship has officially begun. It's all head-to-head battles outside of 3 buy runs, and Dan Burkett is our first driver. So we had an awesome off-season experience here. Take a look. This is called Skills Battle.
We have gathered 9 top FD drivers out here to compete in 3 skills competitions.
Yeah, pretty cool there, Jared. The Formula Drift Skills Battle presented by Turn 14 Distribution. One of the funnest projects that we did in the COVID downtime. And it's surprising to find good things because of COVID, and that was one of them. So really appreciate Turn 14 for making that happen. But let's get on to our first head-to-head matchup here, Jared. Alec Robbins taking on Ken Gushi.
Well, interestingly enough, these guys saw battle yesterday, if you can recall, and here they are once again. Interestingly enough, again, Alec Robbins, very aggressive out of the gate. It came to be the outcome with the contact. Ken Gushi was at fault. They found that Ken Gushi was stalling in an area that he wasn't. I'm really excited. I talked to Ken this morning. He said he's got a slip disc. He's been out of commission for a little bit, but right now he's going to be doing slipping of his vehicle on those Achilles tires. Alec Robbins out front. Good job by him. Look at Ken Gushi. Let's see if he can dive in on Alec Robbins. About the 2nd hash mark there for Mr. Robbins. Ken Gushi gaining some ground. Oh man, look at that, lunging into the side of the 350Z of Robbins. Ken Gushi, great job there in that Gretty Performance Achilles tire Toyota Supra.
Well, and Jared, I want to point out some small but probably important and noticeable differences in some of the track cones here as we get into this run with Alec Robbins and Ken Gushi. Gushi diving in right there. Robbins, solid snapback on that outside zone. Gushi trying to find a way to close the door, but Robbins gets on the throttle, pulls a little bit of a gap here. Good job by Gushi to keep the same line, and then coming up on the inside, tucks up right there, keeps the pressure on Robbins, but Robbins accelerates towards the end. Now, I just want to point out, when we get to outside zone 4, we had a large discussion in the drivers' meeting this morning about visibility problems and timing problems coming into the final outside zone. And you'll see right here, you're going to see some much taller orange cones that are about 30 inches off of the last line on the outside zone. And that's really just to help visibility and timing for the drivers. And of course, we know that outside zone 4 was a real variable yesterday for many of the battles. And this is a opportunity for them to have a better way of getting the timing right coming out of outside zone 3.
Yeah, really looking forward for Ken Gushi stepping up here and getting some redemption after Burkett in the top 16. Exciting battle there. All right, we got Masuyama walking to the line, our starter there here in the NOS Energy Drink, top 32. Fredric Aasbo from Norway in that Toyota Supra going against Adam LZ. He's got his signature lifeguard hat on there in his headshot from Woodbury, Connecticut. He's got a great looking vehicle. He's actually in it's a Toyota engine under the hood of his S15. So excited to see, I mean, look at these two hot rods, Ryan. This is just a great progression of Formula Drift. Hashtag FDSTL. I know LZ's got a ton of fans out there. Aasbo does too. He is our current points leader. Welcome to Formula Drift Pro, Adam. Here you go. You got Forsberg yesterday, 3-time champion. Here you have another champion, Fredric Aasbo. Send it, fellas. Brand new Rockstar Energy Drink, Toyota Racing, Toyota Supra versus Adam LZ and his Ijuku Racing, Sylvia S15. Oh man, and that's not how you get it done, Adam. I know he was, I was talking to his spotter, Pat Gooden, not a spotter this weekend, but shout out to Passionate Pat, King of Spring Break, as Fredric Aasbo crosses the finish line. Oh man, a bummer for him. Want to send a shout out to happy birthday to Sherman. It was his birthday yesterday. Matt Schulman, crew guy of Adam LZ. Ryan, I know he had issues with electronics yesterday. Adam, don't know if he figured them out or this is another problem.
Yeah, and you know what, Jared? I think, you know, you have to just admit what's on paper here is the unluck of the draw for Adam LZ against Chris Forsberg, 3-time champion in round 1, and then round 2, Fredric Aasbo. And then in the chase position there, it looks like he just had some trouble. I would probably chalk that up to maybe the car not being as healthy as he would like it to be from what we heard yesterday. That seemed like a pretty atypical chase run from Adam. We've seen some incredible jobs from him. Look at this, Jared. Ken Gushi looks like he's still experiencing some back problems there. And I wonder if that's affecting his driving.
I mean, you have to think. I mean, you're twisting, you're torquing. I mean, your body, you're looking left. I mean, as we're sitting here in these bridge seats, go and turn left. Think about that, and you're doing it at, you know, higher RPMs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, back to the action at hand. Obviously, it's going to be an incomplete for Adam LZ in his chase run. So now he'll have an opportunity to lead. You have to imagine that Fredric Aasbo is going to be exercising some real constraint here. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah, I think he's going to just kick back a little bit. Not an inactive chase by any means, but I think he's got, again, more confidence, sigh of relief, like you said, baby steps here. Adam LZ, he's not going to. He's going to throw it in. Gangster, nice job there by Adam LZ. Ijuku Racing S15. Let's see how he tightens it up to this front clip. Both of them wrap it around, and that's what we were talking about, that compromise on that front clip. Aasbo, in order to maintain that proximity, just barely knocks over the front clip, filling all of the outside zone. Adam and Aasbo, like I said, two great-looking cars. Love it. So, Ryan, I have to think that Freddie will continue on his reign of terror and reign supreme here at FD, and now going from yesterday's action here into round 2. It's really a masterful bit of driving here from Fredric Aasbo. He was restrained enough to not put himself in a compromising position, but he still made a tough time for Adam LZ in the chase position, right? He's maybe a car length here. He's not door to door, but he's not putting himself in a position for an inactive chase, right? And we do see some drivers that struggle with that when they know that the driver they're going up against in the lead position does have that incomplete. So great job by Freddie here. And it's unfortunate for Adam because that was a really clean lead run. I mean, look at this on outside zone 2. Fills it completely, stays on throttle, boom, through inside clip. Really great line here going to outside zone 3. And you can only imagine what it would have been like in terms of a much more competitive battle had he been able to kind of figure out what was going on there in the chase run. Yeah, Adam LZ, a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable up front, and Fredric Aasbo, you have to think that also Adam, a little bit of nerves there going against Fredric Aasbo, who was the winner of yesterday's event. Like, golly gee, sweet, like this is what I get dealt. So, but you have to take the hits as they come. And I believe they're going to swing the way of Fredric Aasbo, but great showing, and we are finding out as Fredric Aasbo gets the win. Aasbo will advance on, but let's talk to another driver. We just saw him get out of his vehicle a little gingerly. Lorette Nickel is with the Goosh.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that, but Ken Gushi just took the win out of top 32. A bit of redemption from yesterday going against Alec Robbins. But your teammates pulling you out of the car because you slipped a disc. Ken, I know you never offer any excuses, but how much pain are you in right now?
I'm in a pretty excruciating pain. It's been a pretty rough weekend, but my team has had my back, covered all bases for me. And if it wasn't for them, I'd be, out of competition way early on. But yesterday I was just on meds all day, and I couldn't focus, I couldn't concentrate, and obviously I lost against Alec. But for some random coincidence, we were matched up against today in the top 32, and I made it a point not to be on any sort of pain medication, so it's really hurting right now. But I was able to focus on the runs, and we pulled off a win, so we're very happy. It's hard to tell, but I have a big smile under my mask, and major props to my team for covering all bases. And it's been a pretty wild weekend so far with the new Toyota Racing GR Supra.
Ken, thank you so much.
Thank
guys.
Guys.
Thank you, Lorette. Get off your feet, buddy. And I like that, like you said, I'm smiling underneath there, and I don't know if you caught, he says, they really got my back, ironically enough, right?
Well, oftentimes in this sport, the behind-the-scenes stories that lead up to competition are just as interesting as the action that we see on track, and this is certainly an example of that. So congratulations to Ken Gushi. Hopefully we will be seeing him in the top 16 with a little bit less pain, but nonetheless, he's able to make it through, beating Alec Robbins.
All right, well, we could see that Falcon Tire, Drift Cave, Pedal Commander, Corvette, the Beast from the Bay, Matt Field, Drift Cave, his own shop. He's operating a few vehicles out of his shop, not just his own Corvette, but he's also operating the Yves Meyer vehicle from Switzerland, as well as Reynolds, another vehicle there from Switzerland. But right now, another gentleman that is originally from Turkey, but now resides in Northern California, the SGK Performance S14, an exciting battle right here. Two gentlemen from the Bay Area about to throw down. These guys have had some fun at the track before up there, and now here it is on the pro level. Matt Field, Farooq Kaugay. Let's see how Farooq throws down against the Beast from the Bay. Matt Field will lead. Farooq giving chase. Here goes Matt Field in that first outside zone. Farooq, bit shallow, doesn't get all the way out to the outside zone. Oh, shallows up quite a bit there as well. A very tight approach on that front clip. And Matt Field continues on in that Falcon Tire Drift Cave. Pedal Commander Corvette crossing the finish line. And there he goes. So Farooq trying to work it out there, but not the right line, unfortunately, in that chase position, Ryan.
Yeah, but you know what? I have to say that for the mistake that he made, that was an undeniably impressive catch to save it in that way, because that could have been a complete incomplete right there. As he comes through the smoke line, he makes a really big adjustment to not hit Matt Field. Now he's way angled up there. Most drivers, I think, would have just stopped the run and spun, but he does not do that. He continues through, he saves it, makes it look decent. He's obviously going to have a big mistake in that section of the course, and Matt Field did have an impressive lead run, so he's got his work cut out for him. But the most important thing is I don't think that he's going to have it incomplete. He keeps angling the car, saves it, drifts through that section of the course without straightening out. So a nice bit of driving there by Farooq to save that run and come through that without giving himself an incomplete. But Matt Field, obviously an excellent lead driver, laid down a solid run, did all the right things, and now he's going to go to the chase position against Farooq.
All right, Farooq will lead. Matt Field will give chase. Let's see how he handles it. And Farooq, like we saw with Adam LZ, Adam LZ had that mistake there in that second outer zone, and then when he went to the lead position, quite a different driver behind the wheel. Here we go, Farooq initiates. Gangster initiation, just dips that back right, shreds off some body parts, and now into that second outside zone. Massive angle there from Farooq. Center punches that front clip there. We saw a lot of that yesterday. Now coming to this outside zone. Oh, buddy, Farooq. That's gonna be a hard one to follow, Ryan. I mean, you can see Farooq, seems like Matt just said, all right, I'm just gonna back off.
Well, I
that
think
gets difficult.
Obviously you could sense the frustration from Farooq. He pretty much had a good comparable lead run, with the exception of hitting that first inside clip pretty aggressively, but unfortunately he threw it away in the last corner. Let's take a look at it from the beginning. First outside zone, drops a tire, shreds a bumper. Matt Field keeping a close eye on Farooq here as they come through that inside clip. You can see he pushes that out of the way, has a slight reduction in angle there as he leaves outside zone 3. A lot of movement in the car for Farooq, and then Field sees it, so he induces a spin right there to keep the car safe. And unfortunately for Farooq, not able to tie this one off. and bring it all the way through the finish line. So this is going to be a pretty easy win here for Matt Field in the top 32.
Yeah, watch here overhead in that last outer zone. You see him, looks like he's going to park it. So, I mean, I think that was a smart decision. You can see drift off throttle, and then he just powers out. So that could have been a lot uglier. And we did see Field get into Hughes yesterday. And talking to Field, if you were watching round one, him and Hughes after the finish line got contact, and Field said that we were texting last night, and he said that something happened where basically it shorted out. His fuel pump actually shorted. He says, oh man, all this, his fuel pump wiring decided on my first actual battle comp that it wants to short.
At the finish line, yeah, that was that whole thing, like why did that happen? Why did he stop there? And it was a mechanical.
Perfect storm, mechanical, wires crossed, fuel cut out, car stopped because of that transition from the flat to the bank. Dylan's right there. He ain't going nowhere except boom, right into the side. And man, the dent in Dylan's door is good, but man, on the frame rail, it's actually dented as well, with right next to the cage.
In a certain sense, it was actually very lucky for Matt Field that it happened.
Could have been worse.
That it happened there, right? It was past the finish line.
Yeah.
If it happened 10 feet earlier, before judging ended, it would have been a big problem.
True. All right, so we are awaiting the outcome here between Farooq and Matt Field. I assume it's going to go the way of Matt Field. And waiting for the judges to type in their answers. Thank you guys for joining us here, round 2 of the Formula Jet Pro Championship. Hashtag FDSTL. Cloud, blue skies yesterday, but Ryan, it just seems to be just this kind of gray, cloudy haze here as we are waiting for the scores. And here they are. Slide them left for Field or right for Farooq. All right. Looks like Chris says Matt Field, as does Ryan Lontaine, and finally Brian says Matt Field. Matt Field gets the win unanimously. He'll be going against Fredric, Aasbo in the top 16. We're officially a quarter way through our top 32 here, our NOS Energy Drink top 32. And Ryan, overall right now, again, the weather right now, like I said, it's a little sticky, a little hotter, but right now we've seen, Dan Burkett, he had his bye run, but Gushi, talked with him. Aasbo and Field, man, top 16.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're starting to see what the top 16 is going to look like. A really impressive victory for Ken Gushi, all things considered, with his back injury and just dealing with everything a doubleheader brings to the table. But now we get to see the gentleman that got a bye yesterday has to do action in the top 32, and that's Kazuya Taguchi taking on Jonathan Nerren. And we mentioned this in yesterday's broadcast. Both Nerren and Nelson did not get any time in that 5-hour Thursday practice that both the Pro and the Pro 2 Championship was allotted. So they came into yesterday's competition fresh. So I have to wonder what the takeaways were for them in their Mustangs and how they're going to perform today. We'll find out right now for Nerren as he goes up.
All right, Taguchi, definitely a threat here. As Nerren, I had some words with him. He's talking about changing things up a little bit today, finding the sweet spot, and it looks like it seems to be working out. Good chase position there. But Kazuya, and Nerren, just as I say that, the announcer's curse, he falls on his face as Taguchi continues through the course. The up garage GT Radial S15 will definitely have the advantage. So, like I was saying, Ryan, I spoke with Nerren there in the pre-grid and talked with him right before the drivers' meeting. Super excited. I said, what went wrong here, Ryan? But I know he's trying to change some things from yesterday to today.
Well, this just seems like the car is a bit unsettled here. He's probably not feeling 100% on the setup just yet. He's going to come into this first inside clip with Matt Field, and right there, the car is basically going to unwind itself and he stops. So that's more indicative, I think, of a mechanical problem, or maybe the car not being set up exactly the way that he wants to than just a purebred mistake. Out front, Kazuya Taguchi was giving him a good lead. You can see as that compression always happens at that first inside clip. And we can hear now over the comms, Jared, that Jonathan Nerren is going to be calling a competition timeout. And that will be his one and only for the weekend. So that is further evidence that there is a problem with the vehicle or something that he would like to get remedied.
Yeah, and then now he has an uphill battle here with that deficit in the judge's mind, and Taguchi, a little bit of confidence in his corner. The Japanese driver, that up garage GT Radial S15, Jonathan Nerren, and that Tyler Nelson vehicle. We'll be back. We'll take a short break. When we return, the continuation here at round 2 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Also, you know what? This is an NGK competition timeout. So in addition to providing spark plugs for domestic and import vehicles, NGK produces spark plugs for motorcycle, power sports, marine, and outdoor power equipment. NGK offers complementary ignition product lines, including ignition coils, resistor casts, spark plug wires, and high-performance cables. For reliable performance, trust NGK, the ignition specialist. Visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn how NGK is redefining the category with high ignitability technology through its ruthenium HX spark plugs. Toyota Racing, Toyota 86 from Dominican Republic. Super excited about Essa and Castro. This should be fun because both these guys have definitely a smooth style, keep it very calculated, and both very good chase drivers.
This is a tough battle here.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one to watch. Here we go. Michael Essa leading. Castro giving chase. See how they handle 3, 2, 1. Boom. There you go. Boom goes the dynamite. Michael Essa initiating that outside zone. The Achilles tire smoke being thrown in Castro's face. Oh, and there we go. We got contact. But Michael Essa continues on. Like I said, calculated. Good chase drivers. But Essa keeping his poise. Oh, man, riding the razor's edge there. Well done by Michael Essa. Again, from traditional race car driving to a championship drifter, and man, he is out for blood. As Castro, like I said, saw that contact, Ryan. Where's it at? Oh, can you see any little damage there? I don't know. There we go. As Michael Essa and Castro, there's some insight on these two pilots. We'll take a look at the instant replay here and what transpired, taking another glance at it. It's always good for the judges and obviously the fans. You can see the horsepower difference just a little bit there. The NOS Energy Drink, top 32. Here it is. Here's the contact.
Yeah, you can see where we expect it right there on that compression to the first inside clip. And actually, both drivers do a pretty good job getting by it. You can see they just stepped on that rubber stomper that is keeping that cone up. And through this final section here, good proximity there, good distance, and a nice solid measurement by Castro to kind of get himself in the pocket. But we do have that little contact, and thankfully it didn't really have too much of an impact. You see Castro does take a tighter line after inside clip number 1, but he's really trying to stay aggressive. And then Essa draws a beautiful line on outside zone 4. And from the onset, you can see the pace coming down that front straight. Incredible there. Castro gets into the first outside zone a little bit later than Michael Essa. And it was also a little bit shallower there on outside zone number 2. And that tighter line may have caused just a little bit too much aggression, caused that contact. And then we see Michael Essa springboard off that inside clip to outside zone number 3. So overall, this is a really good aggressive run. Castro had some high points. Michael Essa known to just lay down solid, clean lead runs, and he does just that.
Let's see if we get a little Jekyll and Hyde here, because again, Essa just cool, calm. Definitely just saw him earlier in the drivers meeting, and I saw him stretching and feeling out. I offered to crack his back. You know, I could lift him up and crack his back, but I said I think I'm good. I think I'm good. So, but Castro, both these guys, you know, dads themselves and throwing down here for the kids. Here we go. Jonathan Castro brings it out to the outside zone. First outside zone, now into the second. Oh man, look at that tit for tat. Nice job by Essa. Into the third outside zone. Like I said, very fluid here. Let's see how they surge forward into that last outside zone. And a real place of contention yesterday has not reared its ugly head just yet. And I say yet because it is inevitable that it will happen there on that outside zone.
But, you know, I think the improvements made in that final outside zone, at least for the first few battles, seemed like that's pretty good evidence that the new adjustments are working. In terms of this battle here, this is really going to be splitting hairs, I think. There's some areas where Michael Essa was trying to gain proximity, but then you can see Castro pulling away from him from outside zone number 3. Essa coming back, and Castro looking good in that lead run overall. You can see he was pretty good and deep in that first outside zone. Essa in the chase was better on the second outside zone relative to Castro in his chase position. But this is a pretty close run, Jared. This is going to be a tough one for the judges. I like the way that Essa transitioned to that final outside zone to try to get in the pocket there against Jonathan Castro. And whoever goes out here, it's going to be a real shame because both drivers seem to be on point here at round 2.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I predicted, 2 very smooth, clean runs, very sterile, no big kind of, gaps in between the driver, both the lead and the chase, and when they exchange, Castro out front or Essa out front, and we are getting scores. The verdict is in. Slide him left for Essa, slide him right for Castro. One more time, not surprised by that at all. Ryan Lontaine saying, Michael Essa, and finally Brian Eggert, slide him left for Essa or right for Castro. Again, both. There it is. Michael Essa gets the victory and advances on. So Michael Essa back at it again here in top 16. As yesterday we saw Essa advance on into the 16, get taken out by Forsberg, but now here he is back in the 16, and he's going to be going against either Taguchi or Nerren. Signs are saying that it's going to be Taguchi, but Nerren does pull up to the start line. So here is the second run of this battle of Taguchi and Nerren. Right on cue, boys. Here we go. So Nerren will lead, Taguchi giving chase. Essa is going against one of these drivers. Hopefully Nerren's got it figured out. He's hoping that Taguchi makes a mistake in that chase position, because we saw Nerren make the mistake on run 1.
And not just any mistake, it's going to have to be an incomplete.
Yeah.
And you can see Taguchi coming clean here, purging that NOS, getting ready to go up to the line. Thinking about the strategy here, Jared, in the chase position, I mean, really, it's kind of got to be an Aasbo-esque approach here. He's got an incomplete. You want to stay back, but you don't want to have an inactive chase. And so Taguchi, a veteran in Japan, spending some time over here in the States now. He's got a real opportunity to go right in the top 16 if he plays this right.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Jonathan Nerren out front. That Shelby Cobra. He's on Nexen tires. And here we go. Got a clean start, no cones. Was there a jump? Didn't hear a jump all night. Or is he not running? Getting words from the official, was that? Okay. That was a clean start, unfortunately for Nerren.
What happened to Taguchi right there?
Taguchi spun, I don't know, he got pinned, man. But so unfortunately for Nerren, he's having some gremlins. Welcome to FD Pro, man. That is very unfortunate for Jonathan Nerren, but his weekend is done. I didn't say that yesterday because you had round 2 today, but unfortunately now Jonathan Nerren will see him at round 3 and 4.
It's a bit of a disappointing weekend overall here, because the guys, both Nerren and Nelson, had a tough time getting here, only to be facing the Goliaths of the sport.
Right.
And then to have some car troubles. It's just a big disappointment. You can see right out the gate, he's off throttle right there. Taguchi notices that he puts the brakes on as well. Obviously, there's nothing he can really do about it. He's supposed to be following the lead driver. So when the lead driver shuts it down, it is battle over for that run. Unfortunately, he had an incomplete on his first run, so that is all she wrote there.
Yeah, what happened to Gucci there? Did he actually hit the tire wall even too?
I think he was just getting a little practice in and got a little overexcited.
Yeah, I don't know what went on there. So unfortunately for Nerren, there it is. You can see him waving up here. So unofficially, Taguchi gets the win. He'll be going against Michael Essa, but we'll make it official here momentarily. Kazuya Taguchi up garage. GT Radial S15. Jonathan Nerren and that Shelby throttle junkie you could see there on the back.
And just look off in there in the background, Jared, you can see 3-time champion Chris Forsberg. He's going to be going up against the partner and teammate of Jonathan Nerren, Tyler Nelson.
Yeah. All right, so another Shelby Cobra Mustang. Putting it down. And just a little technical issue here, and we'll throw it in, and there it is. Kazuya Taguchi getting the win. Make it official, slide him left, go ahead. And there it is. Kazuya Taguchi gets the win. Kazuya Taguchi gets the win. And Ryan, as you said, the other Shelby Cobra on the start line going against Chris Forsberg. in that NOS Energy Drink 370Z. Come to find out what happened with his vehicle yesterday when he was going for the 3rd place against Odi Bakchis. Remember, he had that 5-minute timeout. We got what's going on there. He actually has his intercooler, a weld seam actually split. So he was running these dual intercoolers. He fabricated this one piece that kind of made them one, essentially the flow of it all, and the seam actually broke. So unfortunately, here we are as got it back together, and he's back in the mix as Ryan definitely giving all the hand signals and letting everybody know, hey, here we go, one and done. So Chris Forsberg will lead. Tyler Nelson will give chase here, initiating in that first outside zone very early as Tyler Nelson tucks in behind that Nexen tire smoke. Both these guys on Nexens now, tightening up to that first front clip. Just kissing it here, now to that 3rd outside zone for Forsberg. Oh, Nelson risking it. Risking it all for the victory. But was it too much? Look at that, shredded some back bumper there. Oh man, it was all mellow, and then wow, Nelson came alive in the outside zone. Looks like we got some contact, Ryan. You can see that NOS logo, little exchange of some rubber onto some paint.
Well, definitely the vehicle looks much more mechanically sound, and you can see it does pay some dues here against Chris Forsberg, but Forsberg gets an incredible jump. He starts gapping a little bit of unwinding an angle or an adjustment there, but then Nelson dives in right there, nearly smashes into Chris Forsberg, so a good move by him. But Forsberg out front, taking the lead, coming out of outside zone 1, clean through outside zone 2. There's that compression point, and you can see Nelson down on angle and on a much tighter line in outside zone 3, then through the smoke line. Takes a massive risk there, nearly hitting Chris in that outside zone number 4. And our 3rd and final look here as we see that really lacking of angle from Nelson coming out of inside clip number 1.
It's his front tire that actually goes into the door of Forsberg. Watch it. He grinds
Little
it right there.
Yeah, you can see Chris was really holding on to that the front brakes as he was trying to make his way through that final outside zone. And you said it, Jared, there'll definitely be some incidents in that final section of the course, but we got through that one without any major carnage. So it will be a judged run on both sides, and now we switch things up as Tyler Nelson takes a lead.
Yeah, Tyler Nelson was all calm, cool, collect in those 3 previous outside zones, and then he turned into Miley Cyrus and came in like a wrecking ball there on that last outside zone. So now they're going to alternate the order. Tyler Nelson will lead. Chris Forsberg will give chase. Getting thumbs up from our drivers. Nelson and Forsberg, let's see how Nelson does. That's big old opening there on that Shelby Cobra. Into that first outside zone. A lot of dirt being thrown up there by Nelson. Forsberg following him. There we go on that front clip. Gets thrown off, Ryan, and that's what we're talking about. Whoa, massive angle there by Nelson. Now into that outside clip. Oh, looks like Forsberg loses a taillight on that exchange, Ryan. Wow.
Well, it looks like Forsberg there does not want to leave this in the judge's hands.
No.
He was fairly aggressive there, and you know that Chris has a really good spotter that's directing him, letting him know what Nelson did in that first run. Nelson dragging that right rear onto the dirt. Nice snappy transition back around, but Forsberg not phased. Forsberg trying to gain proximity, does hit that inside clip. He's trying to stay on the line of Nelson here. He makes an adjustment on that final transition. Nelson does a great job on that outside zone. Forsberg was a little bit tighter and then close proximity there towards the end. Let's check out the flick. Watch the right rear of Nelson go into the dirt there. He does a great job with the save, just hitting that marker of the outside zone. Like the transition back around. Forsberg super tight there, backs off for a second, but was just a little bit on the inside of that inside clip. And then big angle here from Nelson trying to come through this last section. Forsberg closing the door right through the finish line.
Forsberg lost that back taillight, but I was looking for contact. There was no contact. It looks like it just rattled loose after maybe hitting the dirt. Watch right here, transition. Like you said, Forsberg backs off a little bit. Tyler locking up those front wheels, working it out to the outside zone. Good proximity here. Nelson comes in hot. Big heavy handbrake there from Nelson, but that is allowed. Again, that decel zone does drip a little bit into that last outside zone. So again, that red zone, it does find its way into that outside zone and get on that throttle. You want it to be fluid, you don't want it to be abrupt. So here it is, going to the judges, slide them left for Forsberg, right for Nelson, and there it is. Chris Forsberg gets the win, and it is unanimous. It's unanimous. Chris Forsberg will advance on into the top 16. Little battered, little bruised, minus a tail light, but they'll get that strapped on, no problem. They're definitely used to replacing some body parts and some tail lights. So unfortunately, the twin Shelby Cobras are knocked out. Here's a look at who's advanced so far. We are not even halfway through the top 32. One more, and then we will be our next battle. Lorette wrapped out with our next battle. Driver Chelsea DeNofa versus Ryan Litteral, but Dan Burkett versus Gush, Aasbo versus Field, Taguchi versus Essa, and Forsberg versus Chelsea DeNofa or Ryan Litteral. And to be honest, DeNofa and Forsberg could be a great battle. Those guys have exchanged some words over the years. You know, I don't want to call it water under the bridge by any means, because you know, everybody plays it cool, but there's, you know, just a little bit of tension.
Well, you know, DeNofa really gave a really interesting interview. He's drawing contrast between him as we take a look at some of the stats here between DeNofa and Ryan Litteral. Both those vehicles pretty evenly matched, but completely different in terms of build. And DeNofa was basically saying, hey, you know, Vaughn is a little bit more zen, and I'm a little bit more crazy, or the word that he used. But both of them are very outspoken in the series, and both extremely aggressive drivers, but with some differences that make a difference.
I mean, you talk about Vaughn, but let's talk about Litteral. He goes hard too, and I saw him on social media. He said, I'm ready, I'm gunning for it. And he knows Chelsea DeNofa is a wild driver as well. These guys are going to turn it up all the way, leave it all out here on the track, I guarantee. And here's DeNofa. It looks like he's finding his way. Ryan Litteral trying to chase him down here in that Power Stop GT Radial 350Z, and Chelsea DeNofa filling all that outside zone. The PC Racing going for gold like his nose, as that PC Racing Netto tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D rounds it out.
Well, he said he wanted to change things up. Let's see what he did here in the lead position against a very solid driver in Ryan Litteral. Litteral gets a good jump out of the gate, but there goes blasting down the front straight as Chelsea DeNofa. Litteral has to compromise on the line to gain proximity. DeNofa into that outside zone 2. Slight compromise there from Litteral in that outside zone. Now coming through the inside clip, outside zone 3, whipping it back around. DeNofa, smooth transition, stays on throttle, but he's on a little bit on the inside of that outside zone, not filling it completely until the end. And Litteral giving chase here, trying to keep that door-to-door action alive. Pretty good job by both drivers through that inside clip, with Litteral just touching it on the right front bumper there. And the judges were talking about it's much better to do that than to center punch it to gain proximity. So good job by Litteral in that section of the course. But now we've got some heavy work to do here as the lead driver. He'll move up to the front, and DeNofa will chase him down.
This will be a fun one. Once again, like I said, that first one, I think they still got some more in the tank, but this is it. Do or die, fellas. Who's moving on to the 16? We're in the 32. Ryan Litteral out front from Riverside in that Power Stop Brakes GT Radial 350Z. Chelsea DeNofa in that Ford Mustang RTR. He is ready to rowdy. He said he's changing things. He broke his shifter yesterday. I'm sure it's welded back on. Everything's all good, baby. Here we go. Around that first front clip, first and only. Now to that third outside zone. Into that final outside zone. Who's going to bring it? Ryan, there was a lot of talk of, you know, I mean, it seemed smooth. I expected that kind of run from Essa and Castro, because they're, you know, they kind of just keep it mellow, keep it good, keep it safe. You know, I was expecting some carnage, to be quite honest.
I can only imagine the heart rate variability going on between these two drivers, and you can kind of see it manifest there from Ryan Litteral as he was blasting through the finish line and then basically kind of skidding out way past the point of turnaround. Let's take a look at his lead from above. He comes off that first outside zone a little bit early. DeNofa's looking for an opportunity to attack here. DeNofa swinging to the backside, the rear quarter panel, and narrowly getting into the tire wall there. Both drivers come unscathed through that inside clip. DeNofa driving right through the smoke line as Ryan Litteral hits that final outside zone with DeNofa right there in tow. Here it is from outside zone 1. DeNofa did a good job staying on the line from initiation and also filling outside zone 2 completely. He gets in a really compromising position there, but he's able not to go into the tire wall. Little tire drop there, leaving outside zone 3 for Litteral. And then the final transition, Litteral taps the wall, and then DeNofa takes that aggressive move to get right door to door to Ryan Litteral.
Ryan, if you can recall back to Laurette Nichols' interview with Chelsea at the top of the show, he said that they put more grip in the car. I think that's equated to him flirting with that precarious dancing with the tire wall, but getting out of that situation. Slide him left for DeNofa, right for Litteral, and Chelsea DeNofa gets the win. He advances on, but hey, round of applause. Great line by Ryan Litteral. Aggressive, clean. I said I thought I was going to see some carnage. Maybe it's better that we did it for the drivers to live to see another day, or better yet, the vehicles live to see another day, Ryan.
I was just getting...
All right, so before we move on to our next battle, let's catch up with Chris Forsberg, who's in the top 16.
Chris Forsberg takes the win, and last night, super challenging. You had intercooler issues, you got that fixed. Man, I mean, out here again.
Yeah, here we are, round 2, right back at it. And yeah, last night, right after our first run with Aasbo in the semifinals, apparently our intercooler split open. Didn't even feel it because the car had power for the full run. As I came back around, went to leave the line, there's just 0 boost. And I tried to do the run with basically 300 horsepower, and that's not gonna work. So I was about to just shut it down, but you know, there's always a chance that he could have spun or something, and we get it one more time and have a shot at it. So we drifted the course, it didn't look good, but got the car fixed, and we're moving on to round 2 today. We just went up against Tyler Nelson, and he had a great run. It wasn't a handout. He was right up on us. He rubbed my door on the way out, and so the guy said, you know, don't give him the gap, make sure to push him through the course, and so we did, and we got the win.
Chris, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Guys.
We got a salivating top 16 ramping up here, Jared, with Burkett and Gushi, Aasbo in field, Taguchi and Essa, and then filling the final part of the left-hand side of the bracket, Chris Forsberg and Chelsea DeNofa.
Hey, bring up the point. Ryan Lontaine texted you and gave you some insight and info about, again, what we talked about, that front inside clip. Lontaine gave you some insight on why he really liked DeNofa's line.
Yeah, I'll read what he said verbatim. He said, I love that chase line from DeNofa, outside zone 2 to inside clip 1 to outside zone 3. So great, exclamation point.
And that's what I was talking about, getting that grip in the car, finding that right line. It seemed fluid. It wasn't just beelining to that inside clip. He didn't center punch it. So here it is once again. Again, Ryan Litteral, watch this. So Litteral, and watch this transition. This was the line that Lontaine was talking about. He gets all the way out there. It's very fluid. He's on throttle, doesn't hit that front clip.
Gives himself that push to outside zone 3.
But he also keeps the proximity. Compromised a little bit there, but it got him the ability to shotgun and create that momentum going out to that outside zone 3. So, hey, drivers, guess what? It can be done. It can be done. Who's going to do it the second half of the time? In the side of his door, but he is back hungrier than ever. So, Dylan Hughes will advance on in the top 16 without even having to do battle against anybody. So, the Royal Purple BMW with the 2JZ under the hood, O'Reilly Auto Parts on the hood as well. As Dylan Hughes, let's take a listen. Sounds of the sport there, the RPMs echoing through Worldwide Technology Raceway. Dylan Hughes, the dozer from the PNW Pacific Northwest, will advance on. It's a full family operation. Dayton, do a backflip for your bro. His brother could do backflips on the spot. Did you know that, Ryan? Did you know Dayton Hughes could do backflips?
I did not know that.
Yeah, so if you ever see Dayton, little guy, tiny little guy, he's got a snail on his hat, do backflips on the spot. He's a spry little guy. He's pretty spry for a little guy.
Pretty good.
And here it is, Ryan. A lot of buzz about Taylor Hull yesterday, and all the feels yesterday. We saw Taylor Hull getting emotional and crying yesterday. talk about emotions. Travis Reeder, talked to him in the driver's meeting today. I said, dude, what happened, man? You're making divots out there. You're looking like my golf swing, throwing golf and grass all across the track. But Travis Reeder said he overcooked it, came in too hot. He said his tires were maybe a little cold. I think he got iced, not for certain. But right now, Taylor Hull, Travis Reeder, two phenomenal drivers, rising stars in the Formula Drift family. Really looking forward to this one. Of course, gotta love the Intimidator livery there on Taylor Hull's vehicle, and then the red S13 of Travis Reeder deemed Old Red. So we got some, again, some classic feels, some classic vibes here from these two pilots. Here we go. Taylor Hull will lead. Travis Reeder giving chase. Clean start, no problem there. Finishing in the outside zone, that comp cams Achilles tire. Cadillac ATSV brings it on in. Travis Reeder, look at that, the red shadow. Old Red takes out that front clip. Now coming into that final outside zone. Let's see how they handle this. Taylor Hull fills all of it. Ryan, I think those candlestick cones definitely helping out. You saw Reeder really aggressive chase job, keeping just a little bit of safe distance there. No social distancing on the track. You can see Taylor Hull almost losing his back bumper there. Great job by both these drivers. Exciting run, Ryan.
Yeah, and a good little tit for tat there, going back and forth with some great moments from both drivers in each position. Let's take a look at Taylor out front first. Gets a nice initiation at that third standing cone. You can see here, Reeder was on the inside line, so he was not doing the right thing on that first outside zone. It looks like he's trying to fight for proximity here as he gets into that second outside zone, just taking out the inside clip as they reach into outside zone 3. So just looking at Taylor Hull's lead, pretty phenomenal here. No major mistakes and not even really any minor mistakes. We see a pretty aggressive run here from Travis Reeder, but it does come at the cost of making some mistakes on outside zone 1 and hitting this clip on the one and only inside clip. It was on the right-hand side of the bumper, so not super major. He did have good proximity, so that's going to be, more or less the standard that Taylor Hull is going to have to match here going into run number 2 as they switch things up.
Yes, sir. Travis Reeder. I like to call him Travis Reeder, the Walmart greeter. Hey, how you doing? When you walk into Walmart, hey, how you doing? That's him. That's how he rolls. I know his whole family's watching. Grandma, he does not work at Walmart. His mom and his grandparents, I know they watch. And Taylor Hull, Taylor full pull Hull, as we've deemed him, that comp cams Cadillac. Travis Reeder, his girlfriend, his spotter. She's cheering him on up from the tower. So you got this, Old Red. Hush falls over the crowd as we get prepped. Sopa on the Ropa in between the Karza, as he is our starter. We'll get the official thumbs up, and we are good to go. Thumbs up, we're good. Here we go. Click it, stick it to win it. Stick it to the wall, my friends. Travis Reeder will lead. Taylor Hull giving chase. The kind of full pull he's got right here in his back pocket. On the side of that S13, transitioning that second outside zone. Taylor Hull needs to chase him down. That shit is getting stanky up in here right now. Oh, Taylor has Reeder just on the edge of that track. Woo, man. Ryan, what do you say, bud, as far as looking at Reeder and Hull?
Well, Jared, I think the judges are really going to be dissecting the chase run comparisons here, because the lead runs, at least at first pass, seem somewhat similar. Taylor did a good job on outside zone 1 on his chase, unlike Reeder was on the inside line, and Hull is pretty good up until this point, but then Reeder gets on the gas, pulls the separation here. Let's keep an eye on his lead run out front. Pretty solid there, a little bit deep into that final outside zone. So I'm thinking that the judges are going to be really scrutinizing these chase runs to see if they can find any distinct differences that are deal breakers one way or the other for each driver, because it looks like Reeder had a pretty solid lead run, with the exception of this part right here where he does go off course a little bit towards the end. And remember, those new cones are about 30 inches off from the last part of the outside zone. So when the bumpers do hit them, the tire, as long as it's not in that area, that's okay. And that may be judged okay in Reeder's case as well. So that's why I think it's going to come down to these chase runs.
Yeah, really, I think those the drivers wanted them. I think the consistency of where those candlestick cones, the distance off, and they could see them. So, all right, while we're waiting for the judges, here's a look at your BC Racing side-by-side graphics. BC Racing, the official suspension, go for gold.
See, I'm going to be looking mostly here at the chase runs, because I think the lead runs do have a comparable feel to it. Now, if you are watching at home, is there anything there that sticks out to you that says, hey, you know what, I think red got it, or I think black got it, just by looking at the chase run comparisons? And we saw that Taylor had strong points at the beginning half of the battle and maybe a little bit weaker towards the second half. And what we saw from Reeder was some shaky moments, but it does look like we do have results. Here we go.
Slide him right for Reeder, left for Hull. Already Chris Ewell says Travis Reeder. Ryan Lontaine says one more time. And Brian Eggert says Taylor Hull. Look at this. So across the board, Ryan, you know, I don't know. I thought the needle was going a little towards Travis Reeder, but I like, you know what? Don't leave in the judges' hands. This was a tough battle. I love Taylor Hull, love where he's at. He says it's great to get the gremlins off his back, you know, get the monkey off his back. So he felt really good coming into today. Talked to him in the pre-grid area. He's hyped, he's feeling the flow, but my needle was going a little bit towards Reeder. So you know what? Let's go see him one more time. So they're gonna go one more time. Here's our next battle. Ryan Tuerck versus another Formula Drift rookie, Masuyama. Ryan, you said you've seen him compete in FD Japan. Don't count him out. Even though he's a rookie, he is a threat in Japan, and here he is now stateside with the vehicle, bringing it with him in his luggage. Says, all right, if I'm coming out there, I'm going to bring my own ride.
No doubt about it, and I think we have yet to see him kind of unpack the full power that he can deliver, but this is going to be a tough uphill battle here against second place in points from yesterday, Ryan Tuerck.
That's right, Ryan Tuerck here in this Gum Out Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback in that first outer zone. Masuyama chasing him down in that thick Nitto tire smoke. And look at that. There goes Masuyama throwing some more angle out of outside that front clip into that third outside zone. Let's see how they handle the ominous yellow wall here. Oh, and Masuyama comes in hard, comes out swinging, does compromise some angle, gains that proximity. Is that the right line that the judges are looking for? Ryan Tuerck, very fluid through that outside zone. Let's take a look at it again as we kind of cut through the smoke with a machete to see clearly now that the smoke is gone.
Well, you can see from Masuyama like the sense of anxiety of not wanting to lose too much ground to Ryan Tuerck and maybe making some compromises to gain that proximity. Tuerck out front, great job in the lead. Masuyama dives in after outside zone 2. Tuerck is actually the one that hits that inside clip, so a little bit tight there. Masuyama comes through the smoke light, pushes hard right up next side Ryan Tuerck, but then unwinds the angle, probably to make sure they didn't make contact with him. Let's take a look at the front wheels here and see how much angle he actually did lose. He does go up onto the rumble strips on outside zone 2 as well. Gets really tight to Tuerck, who hits the inside clip with the front right of that bumper. And then right here, watch Masuyama, dives on the inside, big angle, then has to pull it out. And through the smoke line, you can't see the front wheels from that side, but it was definitely getting pretty straight there for a moment.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a complete straighten, but it was a drastic loss of angle as he crossed the finish line, and we saw that yesterday from a few drivers, but that was pretty drastic. Would love to see Masuyama come back out swinging now that he's got the fresh air. Cool looking Silvia S15. I mean, one of my favorite vehicles, but you cannot deny the hot rod that is that Toyota Corolla hatchback of Ryan Tuerck. Here we go, Masuyama initiates, nice flick. Ryan Tuerck simultaneous at the same time. Here we go, transition to second. Ryan Tuerck, lack of angle there in that chase position. Wraps it around that front clip, maybe playing it safe here as Masuyama pulls away a little bit. Let's see how he handles that fourth outside zone. Both of them dipping that back right in. Not as deep as some of the previous runs we've seen, but still filling that outside zone.
Well, the reduction of angle in the last outside zone from Masuyama, I think will play a big role in this run or this battle overall. But Ryan Tuerck obviously had a couple mistakes in the chase of his own. Masuyama, big flick, fills that first outside zone. This is where we see Tuerck kind of come off the second outside zone, reduce the angle a bit there. Masuyama comes flying out of the crossover into outside zone 3. Tuerck through the smoke line. Doesn't really dive in there. Masuyama's just at the edge of the inside of outside zone 4. And here's Tuerck following him pretty well on that first outside zone, but does transition a bit early. That forces him on a tighter line.
As both drivers come around, you can see Tuerck just nicking that inside clip. Tuerck on that tighter line from outside zone 3 and 4 as well, but Masuyama was also a little bit shallow there. In our final look here, you can see that just a bit of difference of angle between Masuyama and Tuerck on that inside clip. And I'm certain that this one is also going to be a real scrutinizing chase run comparison, because the lead runs were pretty solid by both guys.
Ryan, I'm thinking to myself, have we ever had a Formula Drift round on a Sunday?
No.
Yeah. So we're at Drift Church right now, baby.
Yep.
This is the chapel. All right, so just thinking to myself. All right, so Masuyama and Ryan Tuerck. Let's see, do we have a verdict? Is it going one more time? Remember, we're going to go back to Hull and Reeder and Hull. All right, so Masuyama, Ryan Tuerck, waiting for it, and the outcome.
Let's see a side-by-side one more time, Jared. I think we need that. Let's look at the chases here. I think the lead runs are pretty similar. See, both guys are very deep on that outside zone 1. Good transition from both gentlemen. Tuerck took a little bit of a wider sweep on the inside clip, does tap it right at the edge there for Masuyama in his lead run. So obviously nitpicking this, but the lead runs look fairly similar, generally speaking. And then that's where you see the big reduction in angle for Masuyama.
All right, after analyzing those runs, slide them left for Tuerck, right for Masuyama, and Ryan Tuerck gets the vote from Chris, as well as Ryan Lontaine. So Ryan Tuerck will advance on. Unfortunately for Masuyama, knocked down 32. Look at that, Brian Eggert actually said one more time, but outnumbered by Chris and Ryan. So Brian, one more time. You're not going to see it, unfortunately, for Masuyama, as Ryan Tuerck advances on into the top 16. Brian?
Yeah, just getting some notes here from Ryan Lantane. He's been gracious enough to send some over. Commenting on the Taylor-Hull battle, he said Hull was just slightly better in the lead. Hull wasn't as close in the chase. Reeder was closer, but cheated a lot. In the Tuerck-Masuyama battle, I felt that Tuerck got back on throttle on outside zone early enough, and Masuyama straightened before the finish on his own. Nice insight there from Ryan Lantane. And we move on to our next battle. Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Rome Charpentier. And Rome has endured quite a bit, as it just bears repeating. Got in a car accident, the truck accident with his hot rod in the trailer, rolled the truck twice. Nobody was hurt, and the vehicle is here. Unfortunately lost in a very interesting way. His door opened and got handed the loss. So right now, it's all about Vaughn Gittin Jr. versus Rome Charpentier. Vaughn Gittin Jr., that Monster Energy Nitto tire, Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. We've already seen Chelsea DeNofa. He is in the top 16 on the other side of the bracket. And Captain Clutch Kick, bring it on in that first outside zone. Lighten him up. Now transition to that second. Here comes Rome surging. Oh, buddy! Goes in that tire wall. Vaughn Gittin Jr. has to continue on in order to gain this advantage, but Rome, he must have been watching his teammate.
What's that?
He must have been watching Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a very similar line to inside clip number 1.
Yeah, so what Ryan's saying here is, if you're just joining us, Chelsea DeNofa just a few battles ago gained a lot of accolades from ourselves with our naked eye, and you know, eventually from the judges, and that's what got Chelsea DeNofa not the overall win, but a great run from him. So that line, very fluid, put some bite into the car, it can shotgun out. Vaughn Gittin Jr. let him in. Rome couldn't hang on.
Strategically, it's a really good defensive move, because if your competitor can't do that, they may get pinched off at outside zone 1 if they're too tight, and if they're too deep, what you see with Rome is gonna happen, right? But obviously DeNofa figured out a great way to do it. It paid off for him, and it looks like Vaughn kind of followed suit there.
Rome, man, this vehicle, this BMW E36, has definitely taken a licking from it being in the back of the trailer, rolling over, to yesterday. Remember the contact between him and Odie, and now the tire wall, very unforgiving.
So let's see, Vaughn gets into that outside zone right at the beginning, and then he has this wide sweeping turn. Rome was following him and just was not able to stay on the same line, goes into the tire wall there, and Vaughn successfully navigates the remainder of the course, so he'll be sitting with a pretty good advantage going into the second half, assuming that we do see Rome come back for his lead run.
All right, let's I'm assuming that we will be seeing a competition timeout here. Little hush falls over. Yeah, Rome is going to be calling an NGK competition timeout.
As we take a look at the replay again, it's hard for me not to think about how incredibly challenging this weekend has been for Rome, and just how positive of an attitude he's had when we have spoken to him.
Yeah,
it really is quite amazing.
Yeah, we were both impressed with Loret's interview after him and Odie's incident.
Yeah, it's a really tough weekend, not only off track but also on track here, and he has kind of been a shining example of how to be a professional athlete when the tide is turning against you.
Rome Charpentier as the NGK competition timeout. Do spark plugs timeout? They sure do. And timely spark plug replacement not only prevents fouling and provides the best engine performance, it ensures less repair time and can save you money on unnecessary repairs. So visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn more about the OE suggested spark plug intervals and find the best plug for your engines. NGK, the ignition specialist. Here is how we're looking in the NOS Energy Drink Top 32. NOS Energy, the official energy drink of Formula Drift. These are the matchups we've seen so far. As you can see, you know, we got a few more drivers left, and we will go back to Taylor Hull and Travis Reeder. Right now, we're only halfway through Vaughn and Rome. And here is who's already in the Royal Purple Top 16. Royal Purple, the synthetic experts and the official engine oil of Formula Drift. So more than halfway through. Dylan Hughes waits in the wings to find out who he's going to go against, as well as Rome and Vaughn. So Ryan Tuerck, he's waiting to find out who he's going to be going against. Laurent Nickel is with the boy from New Hampshire.
Well, we share that in common. I'm also from New Hampshire, so that's a cool connection. But you just take the win. How are the nerves going against a rookie?
You know, I watched a lot of his practice runs yesterday on tape, and I came in kind of prepared. Also, my spotter, Brian Hartsock, has a lot of good notes and information on all the rookies, so we were able to, you know, formulate a good strategy. He's a good driver. He's smooth. He's just not as quick as a lot of the other top cars out here. So we weren't too worried about having to chase or run him. And he ran some good lines. He had a mistake on the chase lap, and we knew that we could, I wouldn't say cruise it in, but we didn't have to apply a ton of pressure like an all-out run. So we just applied enough pressure, just enough to move on to the top 16.
All right. Congratulations, Ryan.
Thank you.
Jared?
Thank you, Lorette. Shout out New Hampshire, live free or die. You know what? Now it's a great time. We got a little downtime. Catch your breath. Let's aim high. Air Force high. What does the R stand for in SERE training? Okay, so you got 4 answers, but what you're gonna do is actually in the description of the YouTube link, go down there, you'll see the Air Force Aim High Trivia. We got a moment. Go ahead, I'll wait. Go ahead, go, scroll, there, yep, okay. Okay, not, yep, right there, okay. So what does the R stand for in SERE? Go and click, see if you know the answer here. Aim High Air Force Trivia. All right, as we can see, Travis Reeder warming up his tires. Oh, wow, okay. As we are seeing Travis Reeder in the burnout box, but I don't know if you saw it there, like actually at the same time, saw Travis Reeder jump into the burnout box, and then up here on the tower, we're seeing Travis Reeder's spotter, his girlfriend, say, guess what? Give the universal, you know, throat chop there. So they're going to give the competition time out again, utilizing that 5 minutes. So Travis Reeder will now have to head back to his pits, and Taylor Hull, he gets a little more time to absorb, digest, and get the feels here, because he's going to be going back out there for that one more time battle. Hull and Reeder, you can see that comp cams, Achilles tire, kind of like ATSV, head back to the pits.
So cruising pretty quickly here through this top 32, Jared, setting up some great matchups and seeing some of the challenges that drivers are having to deal with on day number 2, and not really seeing too much manifest mechanical issues across the board. A couple things here and there, but I think, you know, if that does come about, it's probably going to happen later in competition. I wonder how the teams approach this, you know, in the months leading up to this, and thinking about car design and reliability and things like that, and was there any sacrifice on maybe performance side over, you know, keeping the car in tune, or is it just a matter of getting more parts?
Right, just horsepower. Yeah, so it's crazy. So as Lorette Nickel, she's down with Travis Reeder. He's still in the cockpit waiting to find out what's going wrong.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. The competition timeout clock is running. We're at 4 minutes. Travis, what is your team working on?
Yes, I pulled into the burnout box, and it started missing a little bit. I was reading the dash display here. We got some air-fuel ratio stuff going on, and then I decided to call the 5 for that, and then on the way here, the power steering died. So, I mean, our luck.
This is M2020's going, right?
Yeah.
Where's your confidence in the team?
I mean, the team's awesome. They've been on point all weekend. It's just they've been putting out fires left and right for us. I mean, we'll see how it goes.
And Chelsea DeNofa over here right now helping the team, asking them if they need anything. So, Jared, Ryan, back to you.
Thank you, Lorette. Travis Reeder, a man of few words, but you know what? His actions speak louder than words. As we see JTP, he is on the start line and giving an update on his car. Brand new chassis. It's a brand new car, 5.2 Eliminator XS Ford Performance Engine. He's got the sequential trans and the quick change diff, so he's excited about this build and a brand new debut here for this 2020 season. And guess what? Doesn't have to do paddle, because where he landed pulling that number 3 spot with 29 drivers. He got that final bye run. So let's listen to the Roush Performance Falcon Tire Ford Mustang. And there it is, the Falcon Tire debris hanging in the sky. JTP, Justin Pollock, thrashing on track, and Travis Reeder's team thrashing off track in the hot pits area. Man, when it rains, it pours, unfortunately, for Reeder. He's talking about the air-fuel ratio, then the power steering, and you can see DeNofa's team there and Vaughn's team checking out, seeing what's going on, seeing if he needs any help. And you always got to love that camaraderie, Ryan. So we'll see if Reeder, now it's looking like he's having troubles even getting the thing started.
Yeah, this is not the most promising picture for Travis Reeder thus far.
Where's the clock? There's the clock. Less than 2 minutes.
What does that say, 152?
Yeah, 152, 151 now. Oh, man. So only less than 2 minutes left on that NGK competition timeout. It's fired up. Here we go, baby. Old Red. Come on. Make sure she's running good.
How does that sound health-wise to you?
I mean, things get kind of muffled through the microphones that we're using, like with anything. But
not going to make any strong claims.
Yeah, not going to make claims right now. So we're back to the second half of this battle. We saw Rome Charpentier go hard in the tire wall, but he's back. Takes a licking, keeps on ticking. That is the spirit, as Rome was not built in a day and it wasn't crashed out in New Mexico. Rome Charpentier, he will lead as Vaughn Gittin Jr. gives chase. Garagistic BMW E36, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Monster Energy Air Tire 4 Mustang RTR, ready to rock. As Rome separates himself from the former champ that is Vaughn Gittin Jr. Now coming in, whoa, that wide swing, and look at that, he brings it back, both of them do, as Vaughn throwing some more angle at it, the chrome nose in the rear view mirror of Rome. Now that last one outside, oh, Rome almost came a little bit unwound to tap that Ford Mustang, but he does not. We are also getting thumbs up from Travis Reeder spotter. She says we're good to go. Seems that was within the 5-minute allocation of time. So, man, all things are looking silver lining. I think some of the clouds are going away. Ryan.
Yeah, so we're seeing Vaughn here. You know, he's playing it safe a little bit. He realizes that Rome has an incomplete on his run, so that means that Vaughn would need an incomplete on his chase run in order to force a one more time. But now Vaughn is keeping the pressure on. He does not want to get an inactive chase. He's playing the right game here, making sure that he moves on, and then you can see Rome struggles there a little bit towards the end. Vaughn has to check up to avoid a collision. This will be an easy answer for the judges here with Rome an incomplete on his run in the chase position, and 2 complete runs for Vaughn Gittin Jr. without an incomplete. But I have to say, Jared, it is worth just kind of repeating the pillar of perseverance that Rome and his team have been coming into this weekend and through this weekend. And no matter what happens here, he definitely deserves all of our deep respect.
Yeah, I think he's earned a lot of respect from this weekend. You know, obviously wanted better results on the track, but how he's handled things has been absolutely impressive. So looks like slide him left for Vaughn Gittin Jr. Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Rome, but Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets the victory there and will advance on. That was unanimous in the Monster Energy Nitto tire. The professional fun haver will be seeing top 16 competition, and guess what? He's going against his Drift Alliance brother of Ryan Tuerck. So 2 East Coast boys throwing down here in the Midwest. I believe we should be seeing Travis Reeder, and yes, it is. We are seeing Taylor Hull already at the start line. Travis Reeder just exiting the burnout box as we track Vaughn back to the hot pits area. All right, let's see. As we had the one more time battle, or excuse me, we had our first battle. This is the one more time battle. The NGK competition timeout called by Travis Reeder, and now he says, hey, how you doing? Let's go race, let's go run, let's go have some fun. Taylor full pull hole and Travis Reeder in Old Red. Taylor Hull will lead. Travis Reeder will give chase. In the NOS Energy Drink, top 32, hashtag FDSTL. One more time battle. Hull and Reeder coming into that first outside zone. Taylor Hull, Travis Reeder really aggressive on that first battle, if you can recall. Gives himself a little bit of distance here. Now lunges to the side of the Cadillac ATSV on Achilles tires. Woo! Look at Reeder taking the cone as a souvenir all the way back to that finish line. Oh, and Taylor Hull exceeding the line of the track, getting out to those candlestick cones. Travis Reeder, man, if you would have told me just moments ago his vehicle wouldn't be running, I would have said you're crazy. Woo!
He was pushing super hard there. There goes the cone finally. Hung on there for the entire ride out of inside clip number 2. Let's see it from the onset here. Hull, great job on outside zone 1, but Reeder is determined to stick to Hull as tight as he possibly can, even if it means center punching that inside clip. So he sacrifices that section of the course, but for proximity. And Taylor Hull out front leading an incredible lead run. Up until this point, he's going to start to dip a tire or 2 on this final outside zone, and that allows Reeder, who is on the right line if he was a lead driver, to tuck up on the inside. Reeder looking incredible in this chase run here, mirroring the angle, staying on the line, taking that cone as a souvenir, and then making a good adjustment here as he goes right up to the next door of Taylor Hull. He did not completely fill the zone in the same place or go on the line in his hole, but he's able to maintain that proximity. So Taylor Hull, great lead run out front that allowed that awesome chase run there with very few mistakes from Travis Reeder. So I think all of us are in the booth here are thinking that's really going to come down to this run, and is there a distinct difference between the two? But solid start there.
A little clarity there, Ryan. You said that Taylor Hull took that wider line, Travis Reeder taking the right line if he was leading. What should a chase driver do in that scenario with Taylor Hull going off? Does he follow him? Like, you know, hey, like your mom says, hey, if your friend jumps off the bridge, should you?
In some instances, yes. You're supposed to follow the lead driver wherever he goes. Obviously, you don't want to put yourself in danger, or if you know that the driver's completely going off course, and it's going to be a big mistake.
Here we go, back to the second half of this battle as Travis Reeder brings it around that front cliff into that third outside zone, dips that back left tire, the GT radial, and the Achilles tires gripping up to lunge towards Reeder in that final outside zone. Ryan, let's take a look at it again here, just to get some clarity on that first run.
Smoke trying to clear out of the stadium here, as these guys definitely have given us something to cheer for.
Yeah,
a back and forth battle.
It's been pretty exciting between Hull. Remember, this is the one more time.
The one more time battle. Do we have a victor here? Reeder, initiation at the second standing cone. Hull dives in. Reeder comes off that first outside zone. Hull through the smoke line, right up against the rear quarter panel. And then you see Reeder making that adjustment. He doesn't hit the inside clip. He gets into outside zone 3 and then really maneuvers nicely through that final outside zone, just dipping a tire there as Taylor Hull tries to close up the door. Hull had a great jump and was close on that first outside zone. He gets up on the rumble strip, trying to find a way to settle himself here. Falls back and loses a little proximity on outside zone number 3. And just thinking back about how close they were on the last race, Reeder in his chase run as well, is do we have enough for the judges to make a call here? But nonetheless, 2 exciting battles back to back, the original and the one more time between these 2 competitors.
Man, a really good run there by both the drivers as we are waiting for this. If we get a victor here, we only have 3 more battles left in the top 32 and the NOS Energy Drink top 32, the official energy drink of Formula Drift. Ryan, do you have a pick?
I'm gonna hold my tongue until I see that things are.
But you do.
Official.
But
I do. But I think maybe let's give ourselves a side-by-side.
Well, BC Racing side-by-side, go for gold.
As we take a look here with Taylor Hull on the left and Reeder on the right. All right, so scores are in, they're official. Now we're gonna go through, do some deeper analysis here. You see the aggressive nature of Travis Reeder and the comparison there with Hull falling off. He did better on the first half of the run. Now, how is Reeder's lead? He stays pretty deep into that final outside zone. He gets on throttle maybe a little bit late there, but Hull was not in proximity where it really didn't have too much of an impact. And now we see the scores coming in.
Is this what you're guessing right now? Here we go, slide him left for Hull or Travis Reeder. Ryan, I was definitely, okay, making some claims there. All right, but no, I would agree. Unfortunately for Taylor Hull, I think just Travis was a little bit more aggressive. He had that X factor, as well as Taylor Hull going off very aggressively in that last outside zone. Just those 2 factors for me, I think, really dictated Travis Reeder getting the outcome that he was hoping for.
Well, you see a lot of drivers, and I would say the only difference is as we take a look at Jeff Jones going up against Dean Kearney here, you know, the big topic of conversation about that inside clip is that some drivers are still making the compromise and really hitting that inside clip on their chase runs to keep proximity. The only difference being Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Chelsea DeNofa have taken a different approach in the lead, and then the chase driver hasn't had to do that. But they've had to go much deeper, and that's where we've seen Rome Charpentier go into the wall there. So it looks like drivers are switching strategy up, thinking about what things are learned coming out of these drivers' meetings, and then also just making an observation of what's happening on course with these battles that are preceding them.
All right, this should be an exciting one here. Jeff Jones, the relentless one from Southern California, in his Doc Edelbrock 370Z. Dean Kearney, Oracle lining Achilles tire. Dodge Viper, he's running the turbo setup. He's feeling good. Both these guys going for it. Let's see what they got here. NOS Energy Drink top 32. Jeff Jones initiates, flicks it in that first outside zone. Oh, Dean Kearney taking a way shallow line. Looks like he makes a large correction there. Let's see if he can salvage the chase run here by Dean Kearney. Takes out that front clip and through that third outside zone, approaching the final outside zone. A big flick by Dean Kearney.
2 major observations there. Yeah. It was a nasty flick by Dean Kearney on initiation that looked like it caused some troubles. And then watch Jeff Jones's lead run on the inside clip. He kind of did the DeNofa style wider sweep, late apex into that inside clip cleanly, and it really gave him a good push to the third outside zone. Well, but watch the initiation here from Dean. It's a nasty flick, but then he pulls some angle out of the car, puts him on a bad line. That may be very close to an incomplete or a 0 in the old school terminology. And there's Jeff Jones getting a great jump on that inside clip by sweeping a little bit wide, hitting it as a kind of a more of a late apex, and then we get to this final section of the course. He was just on that inside line at the start of the outside zone, so could have been a little bit deeper there. But you can see Jones and the difference between him and Kearney on that first and second outside zone. Here's Jones, already on throttle prior to the inside clip. Slight little adjustment there, Dean, on the other hand, now really starting to close the door, a quick snap back, trying to keep the pressure on, but was making up ground or had to make up ground because of that mistake on initiation.
Let's alternate the order here. Dean Kearney, he's going to have a phenomenal run here. And he's going to need Jeff Jones to make a mistake, like you said, Ryan. That could potentially be an incomplete. He risked it on that initiation, and he risked it all. But unfortunately, it bit back. Those Achilles tires gripped up, straightened him out. So let's see if he can maintain that drift here on initiation, fill that outside zone. Oh, what's going on here? Seeing what's going on. All right, looks like just a little hiccup here in the start. Pull it on up here. And we are clear to send for Kearney and Jones. Second half. 2.5 battles left. If we get clean, straight up battles. And Kearney whips it out of that start chicane. Big, there you go, Ryan. That's what you saw in there. He hangs it out. Into that second outside zone. Jeff Jones back quite a bit. Dean Kearney tips it with that front right headlight. Now transition in the outside zone to the last one. You see him flick it in there, Ryan. It's more of a violent flick as opposed to a more fluid motion, but that's the way Dean really gets that car to rotate.
It's incredible
Very
that
aggressive.
can even be done
Right.
physically in that car. And that time he pulled it off, Jared, in the lead run. Obviously there was a bit of struggling with it in the chase, but as they leave outside zone 1, Jones is already kind of losing ground a little bit. He's on a tighter line through this first inside clip. Explodes out of that section is Dean Kearney. Here comes Jones trying to get him back here. Kearney's on a bit of a tighter line, and then he's able to get to the outside zone in the deepest part towards the end. There's definitely not much of a horsepower difference in today's modern drift vehicles, even given how different these cars would be on the showroom floor. But you can clearly see the way that this car is built. He's got a lot of grip. And as he comes into this final section, he just mistimes that outside zone for a little bit. So we have to ask ourselves, is that mistake on run number 1 from Dean an incomplete? If it is,
Ooh.
Jones does not have an incomplete in either run.
Right.
And it looks like we're seeing some judges
slide him
coming
left for
really
Jones.
quickly.
And there it is. Jeff Jones, the relentless one, gets the win. Dean Carnage Kearney knocked out in the Oracle Lighting Achilles tire Dodge Viper. Jeff Jones gets the win and will advance on into the top 16. Now, Jeff Jones, yesterday we saw him in top 32, and Jeff Jones moved on to 16. But wow! So as Jones moves on, Lorette Nickel is with Travis Reeder, who, whew, he can exhale now.
And kind of exhale, because you can see his eyes keeping an eye. He's keeping an eye on his car, and a lot of challenges that you just faced there, Travis. And you had to use your competition timeout. So does that make you nervous moving forward, not having that in your pocket?
Yeah, I mean, we've been fighting some intermittent issues throughout the whole day and yesterday. So the car kind of had a miss and was breaking up in the burnout box, and I didn't want to risk anything. So I called the 5, and on the way back from the burnout box, the power steering went dead. I couldn't steer the car, so it was just, it was a rush of emotion there. I had confidence in my guys, jiggled everything. I mean, Lambda came back on. It was running a little smoother. Somehow the steering came back, but we're going to double check over everything, probably put a rack in it. Do everything we can to be good in the top 16. But yeah, it was a good drive. I mean, I was a little nervous there for a little bit. I know Taylor was driving hard and consistent all weekend, so I knew I could trust him to be where he was going to be when I came out of the smoke. So it was a lot of fun. Good job to him. It was a rad battle. I can't wait for the 16.
Well, I can see with your body language, your eyes, you want to get your hands in the car. So go ahead, do that, join your team. Congratulations to Travis Reeder. Jared.
Right on. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Travis Reeder. He's got a little bit of time here, which is always a blessing, right? And like I said, Ryan, the camaraderie there, seeing Chelsea DeNofa and that RTR team jump over there. All right, Odi Bakchis versus Yves Meyer. Now, Yves Meyer, a former drift rookie, didn't start drifting until 2017. Great looking car with that HGK body kit built in Latvia. Shout out to our boy Christos Blush and the HGK fam. But Odi Bakchis, he got third on the podium yesterday. Can he do it again? Can he take it all the way to the top? Remember, last year he started the season with 2 wins back-to-back. Here we go. Odi Bakchis initiates that Falcon tire. Feels suspension S15. We'll see how he feels after this run. Ooh, Yves Meyer with a correction there in that Latesso BMW. Now coming to that third outside zone. Yves Meyer losing some ground, but now brings him back in. There's Odi Bakchis sweeping the leg on that last outside zone.
There are just 0 slouches in this pro field this year.
Right?
And, you know, coming off a strong Pro 2, just, man, it's crazy to see how far this sport has come. And what we're watching here this weekend after a long time off, it seems like we just picked up where we left off. And right there, Yves diving right into Odi Bakchis as he takes the lead. Odi unfazed, gets through that second outside zone. Yves with a little bit less angle there, trying to be aggressive. He knows Odi is going to come hard in his chase run. Odi goes a little bit off course there on that third outside zone, makes an adjustment here. Let's see when he gets back on throttle. He gets back on throttle right near the grass, so he did the right thing there. And Yves just about a half a car length away towards the finish line. From above, boom, that love tap. The drone gets a great perspective on it, and credit to Yves for not spinning out there or not getting out of drift, but you can see he becomes a little bit unsettled after that contact with Odi Bakchis. Odi gets on the throttle a little bit late there after inside clip number 1, just by looking at the smoke line, and then right there you can see Yves makes a slight adjustment. He's on a tighter line as Odi Bakchis goes through the finish line, and we switch up the rotation.
All right, Yves Meyer will now lead Odi Bakchis, giving chase. Let's see who comes out on top. These guys have never driven against each other. You got an FD rookie who's, again, it's really amazing to me. He was at Formula Drift Long Beach in 2017. He says, you know what, or 2016 I think it was, he said, I'm going to be here. And here he is now on the pro level as Yves Meyer initiates those Achilles tire, throwing smoke in the Falcon tire vehicle. And look at that, Yves Meyer goes off into the tires, and Odi Bakchis does not even need to finish the run because Yves Meyer was in the lead position. So Odi Bakchis will get the victory here unofficially. Just need to make sure there was no incidents there, but it seems that Yves Meyer did that under his own accord, unfortunately under his own mistake, and goes in. But man, Yves Meyer definitely a talent. Like I said, he was in Long Beach in 2016. He was snowboarding, and basically he's a pro snowboarder and says, I'm going to do this one day, and here he is on this level. He competed in FIA Drifting Cup. He got on the podium there, and now here he is in FD Pro Championship.
Well, this is one of those ones where your eyes are telling you a truth that's about to happen, and right about here is when you start thinking, we got a problem. Boink. Luckily, it was not one of those bounce-off 360s, major crash with broken parts everywhere, and also for Odi, he was able to avoid anything major that could have come about from going into the wall here. That was a really lucky occurrence for both drivers. Sadly enough, it is going to be an incomplete for Yves in the lead position, but as you said, Jared, all these drivers, including Yves, have had shown so much talent and resilience here this weekend to go back-to-back. It's very impressive no matter what happens in this run.
I was just thinking that. I mean, man, they obviously took notes. They refined their vehicles. They refined their minds and overall their programs. Hey, shout out to the DeNofa family in Riverside. Steph, I'll see you tomorrow. Parker and Tyson, love you and see you tomorrow as well. As here we go, a family man himself. Odi Bakchis will get the victory here against Yves Meyer. And there it is. Let's make it official. Odi Bakchis getting third yesterday. Wants to better that and continue. Ryan, we talked about it yesterday. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. You know, would love to see him to grab a championship. Is this the year? That's the big question.
It very well may be, and obviously he is tuned and ready to go. He's got the third place points, a great finish for him. So, I mean, it could be one of those.
All right, Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift. Buy any 5 quarts of Royal Purple high-performance motor oil and receive a free box of Royal Purple nitrile work gloves by mail. It's a $20 value. You can redeem at royalpurplepromos.com, available at O'Reilly Auto Parts. And also those gloves, I don't know if you saw the commercial with Dylan, they're swipeable. So if you have them on, you can still look at your phone and work on your car. Oh my gosh, Ryan, compared to yesterday, I mean, at this point in time, 140, I don't even think we're barely halfway done with top 32, and here we are into our last battle. Dai Yoshihara and Joao Berrion. Oh, I mean, the announcer's curse happens all the time, so I hate that I even said that we're almost done with 32. Now it's going to last an hour for this last battle. All joking aside, really excited to see these two gentlemen do battle. Saw Joao and his team go ahead and basically say that, man, this is a completely different car from last year. We got a Pro Charger on it. It's got 1,000 horsepower, but he's going against Dai Yoshihara, a former champ in that Turn 14 distribution, Falcon Tires, Ineos Oil, Subaru BRZ. He's got some confidence coming in here because he is an unlimited class Pikes Peak winner in another vehicle on the famous hill that is Pikes Peak, and he wants to get into the top 16. Yesterday, Dai Yoshihara, we saw him in action, and it looks like he advanced on a 16, but then he went against Odi Bakchis, and Odi took him out. Guess what? He might be seeing Odi in the top 16 once again. We'll find out. Or is the Brazilian's own Joao Berrion, the sheriff, he's back in town, and he's ready to do battle. We saw Joao Berrion on Hyperdrive on Netflix, our boy Rutledge Wood, host of that. Here we go. Dai Yoshihara, Joao Berrion initiating that first outside zone. Here goes Dai Yoshihara. Let's see, Joao Berrion now into that second outside zone. Good chasing him down here. Dai Yoshihara with that wide. What is going on there? Interesting approach. Don't know. And there's the announcer's curse. Exactly.
Come on, announcer.
Oh, there we go. Face palm. Totally my fault. I apologize. The sheriff was back in town. He's like, all right, you're rootin' tootin'. I'm about to shoot and hear Dai Yoshihara here on the side.
Well, let's take a look at what happens here. It looks like after Dai gets a good jump, really as Joao is surging forward, he's anticipating, I think, that maybe Dai's going to go a little bit wider here, but he just kind of, I think, was not really able to control the vehicle in the way that he wanted to. And let's watch Dai's momentum. He's going to be braking in the right area through that. He's back on throttle here. Yeah, I think Joao was just being overly aggressive here because Dai was, obeying, quote unquote, the decel or red zones, and Joao was just a bit too aggressive.
Ryan, elaborate on drifting too. Well, we got the sounds of the sport here.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. We'll be quiet
turn down the music.
Once we hear or get close to the bang, but let's look at the setup. Dai is on throttle here, Joao chasing him down, and here we go. Yep, double bang, and Dai pulls out of it smartly.
Ryan, anybody who's new to drifting or Formula Drift, we're not looking for the pass. We're looking for the control. We're looking for the maintaining of the angle, maintaining of the line, chase them down. Anything else that you could add to that?
No, I mean, you brought up the whole passing thing. I mean, there are instances where passes have happened, and really, it's a rarity, but if it does occur, it's only technically allowed to occur on an inside clip, and that's when somebody blows way off wide on an inside clip. Now, I don't think that Joao thought that was what was going on with Dai. He was making a pretty solid transition to that inside clip, so I think what we have there is just a case of a bit of over-aggressiveness, a little bit overzealous from Joao, wasn't able to control the vehicle in the way that he wanted to, and unfortunately it ended in a collision which stopped the run, which means that we're going to need to assess fault from the judges, get that clarification, and then figure out whether or not Dai needs repairs or whether it's Joao that needs repairs. If it's Joao, he'll have to call a competition timeout. If it's Dai and he's not at fault, then he'll have some time to work on the vehicle.
Is that official? Is that what the judges said, that Joao is at fault?
I have not seen the official result yet. I don't want to make a claim, but they are looking at it. So my first glass, it just looks like that Joao was being a bit over-aggressive there because you could see the smoke coming up from Dai right after outside zone number 2, which is an indication that he's getting ready to basically apex that inside clip, and then that's when we see the collision happen.
All right, so waiting for the judge's verdict, and I couldn't agree with you more. It seemed that with the naked eye, you could see that, yes, and we are getting word, we're overhearing from the race official, Joao is at fault. He is allowed to call a competition timeout. It's a good opportunity to bring Brian Eggert in here. Brian Eggert, one of our 3 judges. Brian, Joao just too aggressive?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. We all 3 unanimously picked him for the fault, so it just looked like he ended up coming in just a little bit too harsh through there and got back on the gas a little bit too quickly, and put himself in a bad position.
It didn't seem that Dai was way offline. It seemed that he was taking kind of now, as the drivers are adapting from yesterday to today, putting grip in the car. They can do that wide sweep, but then they could tighten it up and find that grip. I don't think Dai was offline, was he?
No, I don't think so. We looked at it a few times, and he definitely was getting back on the gas, so it's not like he was parking or stalling or anything. So I think it was just a mistake in the chase position, just getting aggressive, and we'll just have to see what happens if he can get back out on track and run him again.
We were Ryan and I were talking about passing on this track. Unless there's a major mistake, there's no section of passing here on this course.
Yeah, the only place they can legally do it is at interclip one, and where he actually pulled off track is like where he would have had to have been for that to be that wide of an open area. And definitely the contact and everything took place well before that, so there wasn't even a legal pass that could have been made in that move right there.
Brian, I also apologize. The announcers curse. They said we've had a great flow. We haven't seen any major incidents, and this was the last battle, so I apologize for ensuing this action.
That's okay. I'm equally responsible because I said it right before you did to the other guys.
Right on. All right, so as we advance on, we'll take that NGK competition timeout. Here's a look at the bracket. We have 15 drivers in. Ryan, I'm going to talk about the left side. I want you to talk about the right. We got Dan Burkett. He had a bye in his top 32. Now he goes up against Ken Gushi, who's in top 16. He got knocked out early yesterday, but he takes out Alec Robbins, who coincidentally he went through a battle yesterday. Fredric Aasbo versus Matt Field. Kazuya Taguchi versus Michael Essa. Chris Forsberg versus Chelsea DeNofa, which again, they have a little bit of a history. And then on the right-hand side,
we got Hughes and Reeder, which is a great battle. And of course, looking at Justin Pollock, who already had a bye yesterday, gets another one today. It will be the first time that he does battle, going up against Jeff Jones, who seems to be surging.
All right, so while we have this NGK competition timeout, Joao and Dai Yoshihara, only one half of a run left to go. Dai Yoshihara needs a clean run. Joao needs to get his car back together. Can the sheriff do it? Lorette Nickel is with Mr. Odi Bakchis.
Well, we're just having a conversation down here. And Odi, you had quite the day yesterday, finishing off third. And before we get there, Yves Meyer came over. He shook your hand and he said, sorry. What was that conversation?
Well, when I led, I was very much looking forward to a nice open, track to just perform a good lead run. But I got hit pretty hard in zone one to the point where I had to do some clutch work and very finesse the throttle not to spin. So I was kind of bummed out about that. But, the rest of the run is still there. So I just did my best to get back on track and finish off the run. And that's why he came by and said sorry. He, I think, initiated it a different way than I initiate, which lunged him forward, and then he just had too much speed into inner zone one. So, yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. We just got a little bit more damage on the car, but hey, that's drifting. So boys are taking care of it right now.
And I feel like there's so many stories surrounding you. And, starting from yesterday, you got that third spot on the podium. You did say that you were concerned about the amount of work that you had to do. Is the car 100% right now?
Yeah, the car is 100%, and we were very fortunate that what we thought was going to take a while to troubleshoot, actually, we ended up finding the problem within like half an hour. So we got to leave, not after midnight. We got some sleep, so I'm very stoked on that. Stoked on a whole brand new day, starting fresh. Yeah, just looking forward to battling some more today.
Okay. So yesterday you went against Dai. That's where you sustained the contact. If he moves forward, you're going to see him again. How do you keep it clean?
Well, I think Dai is going to change his strategy following me because he knew that he came in a little hot there. We had a chat. So Dai's a threat, and he had a good practice run with me yesterday. And I'm going to have to really turn it up and drive clean and well with Dai because that's just what it takes to win against a teammate, on Falcon tires. We're all quick, and man, he's a veteran. So I'm ready for it, though. I'm very much excited about this.
Good luck, Odi.
Thank you.
Jared, Ryan.
Thank you, Lorette, and good luck to you, Odi. All signs are saying that Dai Yoshihara and Odi will be paired up, not only in the top 16 against each other, but also that bottom right-hand bracket. They'll be going against each other. So as we wait to find out where Joao is on this repair, we got, technology is our friend, right? And sometimes, it's great to embrace it. So Ford's got some new technology that they want to share with you, the Ford Mach-E. Back here to Worldwide Technology Raceway. Jared Deanda, Ryan Sage, and our homegirl on the ground. We got Lorette Nickel. Lorette Nickel, I believe, is down there with our technical director, Kevin Wells, and talking about what transpired here between Joao Berillon and Dai Yoshihara. Lorette?
Jared, thank you so much. Kevin Wells, we were just here in the competition timeout. Dai's team working so hard. What were they trying to fix?
They were changing the lower control arm on the driver's right front. It actually, due to the impact with Joao, actually bent the arm. So they got underneath there, swapped it out, and they got it done with 1 minute to spare and heading back to the track.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much. Jared, Ryan, back to you.
Thank you, Lorette. Yeah, just seeing the Corvette being warmed up there, the Brazilian driver, and there is Dai Yoshihara. There you can see the bent arm. So good thing that that Dai did have that time on his Falcon tires, the Turn 14 distribution, Ineos Oil Subaru BRZ. Don't know whose feet those are. I think that's Odie, if I could see. But all right, there's Dai Yoshihara, and looks like he's heading out of the burnout box as the Sheriff is on the start line. Let's see who comes out on top now. Again, Joao Berillon was deemed at fault here, so he has a deficit after the first run of this battle, so he's really going to need to throw it down here. I know he does. I know that his team has worked and thrown a lot of horsepower in it. He's rocking that M-Claw. And here we go. Second half of this run, what is to be the final run of the top 32, the NOS Energy Drink top 32, as Joao throws it in. Dai Yoshihara playing a safe role here. Don't think it's an inactive chase, but just not the right line as Joao goes to that outside zone. Oh, and a correction there by the Sheriff. He straightens out. Oh, so he's stranded out there on the course. Ryan, unfortunate for the Sheriff here in that Corvette. Ah, what a bummer for him.
Yeah, and that last little mistake there by Joao Berillon will set the top 16 bracket. You have to imagine there was at least some legitimate concern from Daijiro Yoshihara after having to fix that vehicle, whether or not, after not really having a shakedown, if the car would perform. You mentioned him taking it a little bit easy, but Joao gets the job done for himself here as he comes through inside clip number 1 just prior and finishing up outside zone number 3. He's going to shut it down. Here it is leaving the initiation. Gets a little bit up on the rumble strips there. Now transitions back around through the inside clip. And then right about here, we're going to see him unwind the vehicle and shut it down. So something mechanically unsound there from Joao Berillon. And for Daijiro Yoshihara, after a tough collision, will sail right in through to the top 16.
All right, so as we can see, our vehicle stranded out here, but we will have the judge's verdict, and that will take us out of top 32. Let's make it official. Slide him left for Daijiro Yoshihara. Dai Yoshihara gets the win unanimously, with Brian Eggert saying it as well. So, unfortunately for the Brazilian driver, the Sheriff, his weekend is done, and we will see Odie and Dai do battle once again in that bottom right-hand corner of the top 16 bracket. So our NOS Energy Drink top 32 is over, the official energy drink of Formula Drift, and there are our top 16. Dan Burkett versus Ken Gushi. Should be a fun one. Dan Burkett got the fast pass. Aasbo versus Field. Aasbo, we've seen how calculated he is, but Matt Field, he could really throw a wrench in the program. Kazuya Taguchi, Michael Essa, both very fluid drivers. We know what to expect. And then, like I said, a little bit of history here between these two drivers, Chris Forsberg and Chelsea DeNofa. On the right side, Ryan?
Yeah, Dylan Hughes going up against Travis Reeder. That's going to be a banger just because what we've seen both drivers have to go through this weekend. And with
They're
Travis
great
Reeder,
friends.
great friends and so much work going into the car. You have to wonder, will Travis Reeder get out there with a 100% vehicle? Obviously, the next battle between Ryan Tuerck and Vaughn Gittin Jr., we know those guys trust each other incredibly, so we can expect fireworks there. Jeff Jones is on a tear. Justin Pollock for the second time in 2 days. This will be the first time that he'll be seeing competition in the top 16. And then rounding it out, teammates Odie Bakchis taking on Daijiro Yoshihara, a battle of a champion and one trying to become a champion.
That's right. There's the top 16 here in the Royal Purple top 16, the official engine oil of Formula Drift. We'll take a short, not a short break, a little longer break. We'll be